Why do your knives suck? Find out now on Urban Kitchen Revolution. Hi, and welcome back to Urban Kitchen Revolution. I'm Chef James Hudson. Today I want to talk about knives, cutting boards, and knife care. So, what do you really need? In my opinion, what you really need are called the big three. First and foremost, a chef's knife. This one is my personal knife that I've had in my home kitchen for years and years and years. It is a big brand name, relatively expensive, but you can absolutely, positively get away with not spending a fortune on a chef's knife. $50, $60 is a reasonable price for an okay knife, which is going to get you through until you start getting really serious about this. So, if you can afford it, get the most expensive knife you can afford. If not, find something in the $60, $80 range that is comfortable in your hand. Next, paring knife. Again, don't need to spend a ton of money on a paring knife. You'll see very shortly that what it all comes down to is care. Finally, some sort of serrated knife. This one just happens to be an offset. It can be a standard bread knife. It can be something that you stole from your mom's house. It doesn't matter. Just have some sort of serrated knife hanging out and around that's relatively sharp. And finally, what might be most important of all is a steel. I can't stress how important this piece of equipment is to keeping your knives sharp and honed for the long term. Which brings me back to the original question: why do your knives suck and mine are great? Your knives suck, or most people's knives suck rather, for one of two reasons. One of three reasons actually. So why do your knives suck? It comes down to a couple of issues actually. The first is, knives do not belong under any circumstance in a dishwasher. A dishwasher is a knife dulling machine. Wash your knives by hand with soap and water, dry them off, which brings us to the next thing. A butcher's block or a knife magnet. Your knives absolutely, positively must be stored separately from all your equipment, which is the third reason why most people's knives suck. They go into a drawer. Knives do not belong in drawers under any circumstance whatsoever. Again, a drawer is just at best is a knife dulling experience. At worst is an episode of Saw. So how do you use a steel? There are a couple ways to use this. The most important thing in a steel is, first of all, that you have your thumb behind the thumb guard, right here. I'm not going to lie to you, the very first time I used a steel, did not have my thumb behind the thumb guard and put a knife directly into my thumb. Please don't do that. It took hours for it to stop bleeding. Use a steel, simply take your knife and your honing steel, and without much pressure, just at about a 20-degree angle, just slide it down and the other side. Don't go too deep. You want to be you want to err on the shallow versus the deep. And all this is doing, like I said, it's not actually sharpening, it's just honing the blade so that the V comes back down again. So we've got a super sharp knife there again. The other way to do it is turn it vertically like this. If you're afraid of obviously slicing your thumb off like I did, and just go again, right down either side of it, just like that. And now, nice sharp knives. If your knife is pitted or has big dings inside of it, it's time to bring out the stone. And I would recommend a Japanese water stone. They tend to be a little bit finer grit, and will take longer if you have a serious blemish inside your knife to actually sharpen it, but your knife will be sharper more consistently in the long run if you use a water stone. A water stone is called a water stone, obviously, because you lubricate it with water. So water goes in the pan, so your stone goes in the fresh water, out, with the same angle that you used before with the honing steel. Just a simple back like that. 5 times on this side. And then 5 times on this side. As you can see, actually it did take a little bit of the metal off the blade. That was the coarse side, onto the fine side. And if you had a big pit, you would continue with the coarse side 5 or 10 strokes at a time until such time as that blemish was removed. After your blemish has been removed, another quick use of the steel, and boom, back to factory sharp or sharper. Last thing I wanted to touch on in this episode was cutting boards. What should you get and why? For me personally, and I think this is the best advice I can give in cutting boards, is get the biggest cutting board you can find and afford that will fit in your kitchen. I picked this one up for next to nothing at an IKEA. I love it. It's made out of bamboo. It's got a nice wide surface. 80% of what you're going to be doing in the kitchen is going to be done on this board. Like I said, get a nice big work surface, something you can move around on, something that has space to move things off to the side on while you're working on another piece. Nice big cutting board. Keep it clean. Soap, water, hand wash. Again, not the dishwasher. Especially on wood cutting boards, dishwashers tend to warp cutting boards, which render them useless. It has to stay straight, it has to be clean, and it has to be, as far as I'm concerned, large. So that's it for today for Urban Kitchen Revolution. Tune in next time when we start working on knife cuts and basic knife skills. Again, don't forget to look me up on the web on www.urbankitchenrevolution.com, on Twitter at UrbanKitchenUKR, and finally on Facebook at Urban Kitchen Revolution. Until next time, enjoy your day. Bye.